This video is for all you folks out there that have an extra whiskey barrel laying around and you're not quite sure what to do with it. Build an arcade table, of course.
The world is a scary place. We got climate change, economic crises, artificial meat, and cancel culture. I can't take it anymore. So on my way home from having lunch with friends at the taco bus, hashtag best tacos in Preston, Idaho, I saw a nice girl offering just what I needed, cheap therapy. She said I should try regression instead of handling unacceptable impulses in a more adult manner. That's the best advice ever. And only 5 cents? Wow. Thanks, Lucy. I knew right away how regression was going to help me. I was going to ignore the world and play video games in my basement like I did when I was 12. Now, if only I had an empty whiskey barrel. Wait a minute. I totally do have an extra whiskey barrel. A while back, I built a sink out of a barrel for our Hobbit house. And when I was doing that project, Mrs. Z's insisted we buy 2 barrels, just in case I messed up the first time. I know what you're probably thinking, but DrZzs, you never make mistakes. Why would you need a backup plan? And clearly, you'd be right, because the barrel sink turned out great on the first try. And that's how I ended up with an extra barrel. I'm feeling better about the state of the world already. So I've got this extra barrel, and I've got a game room in our Hobbit house, and I've got a hankering for some old school video games. And I've got fond childhood memories of arcade games built into the tables at Pizza Hut. Obviously, these 4 things go together, like chocolate and peanut butter, and cake, and ice cream. If I'm really gonna regress back to my preteen, carefree outlook on life, I'll have to turn this barrel into a table. Then I'll figure out how to get all the electronicals in there. Let's see, the tabletop needs to be see-through. So I grabbed a thick slab of glass that was just the right size for the barrel. I plopped the glass on top of the barrel, and voila, we have a table. This project is going great. Next, I got all the electronicals together. You thought eggs and toilet paper were precious? I've got a Raspberry Pi. I've done retro gaming stuff on a Raspberry Pi a couple times already. It's not hard. Load RetroPie, scour the web for game files, then spend a month or so trying to get all the viruses off your computer. Easy. But what's even easier is just buying one of these SD cards from Amazon. Comes with all the games, all configured. Just put it in the Pi and turn it on. This is going almost too well. When I put the glass on top of the barrel, there's a little gap, just big enough to slide a really thin monitor in there. I looked at lots of different screens. There are about 3,000 different monitors to choose from on AliExpress. The one I chose has a resolution of 1920 by 1080, but it probably doesn't need all that for retro gaming. It's got speakers, so that saves me a step. Sure, I wanted as big a screen as would fit, but the most important dimension was actually the thickness, because it has to fit in the space between the top of the barrel and the glass top. You can't build an arcade without buttons and a joystick. So I got these. If they look familiar, it's because we used the same style for the Get Me That Thinginator. That was the claw machine we built that fills a whole room. These come in all kinds of colors. To get them to work, you need this interface board. You plug the joystick and all the buttons into the interface board. Then there's a USB cable that goes from the interface board to the Pi. There's no more setup required than that. No drivers or command line hacking. Plug and play, literally. Did I mention they light up? To get the lights to work, there are these 2 extra contact points that need to be connected to 5 volts and ground. The hardest part of this build was designing the housing for the controls. I thought about just making a box out of wood, but nah. I've got 3D printers, and DrZzs has a laser cutter. I can't just build a box out of wood like a caveman. The first version was fully 3D printed. It was okay, but I wasn't sure it was going to hold up to years of vigorous button smashing. The final version was a combination of 3D printed corners and laser cut panels. I'm still a little concerned about durability, but it looks so good. We got the buttons all labeled, and just look at that sweet Aidendale logo. It took a while to go through however many thousands of games there are and pick out my favorites, and of course all the classics. That reminds me, I need your help picking the best old games. Leave a comment with the name of your favorite old school arcade game. If it's on this SD card, I'll add it to my favorites. I got this all put together just in time. There's an election coming up, and you know how crazy the news gets when that's about to happen. We got the barrel installed in the Hobbit house, and I invited some of my best friends over for some group therapy. Lucy was right. Building an arcade table out of a barrel was a great idea. This is just what we needed. But I don't think regressing to childlike behavior is really what made me feel better. Getting together and spending time just enjoying each other's company is what did it. We all need to be reminded sometimes that no matter how bad the world seems, as long as we've got good people around us, it's all gonna be all right. Well, that's all for now. As always, thanks for watching. Until next time, adios.